Hey kids, it's the Missenden Flyer here, hope you're well. Now, we've seen a lot, haven't we, in the last couple of years of retro style bikes making very much of a, well, not a comeback, but just being very, very popular. And why not? They're fantastic machines. And in the last year, we've seen the emergence of some more sort of sporty looking bikes. I guess starting off with things like the Thruxton R, which was, I think, 2016 model. And then this year you've got things like this, the Triumph Street Cup, which I've been getting to know well. And also bikes like now the RnineT Racer. Well, today I'm going to be riding the RnineT Racer, so I thought it would be a great opportunity just to do a bit of a direct comparison between what the RnineT Racer feels like from a practical point of view versus this, the Triumph Street Cup. So stick around, stay tuned, and we'll do a little Street Cup versus RnineT Racer review. So the RnineT Racer suspension comfort, how does it fare compared to the Street Cup? Well, it's a completely different riding position. The Street Cup is sensible and upright. The RnineT Racer is properly sporty feeling. You're laying pretty much flat over the tank. Your feet are much higher on the pegs. Your legs are tucked up. It really is a more sporty position altogether. Feels like a much more serious bike, the RnineT Racer. I'm not saying the Street Cup isn't serious, but it feels a bit more angry, if you like. So from a riding position and comfort point of view, the little Street Cup, although it looks fairly extreme with its sort of dropped handlebars and so on, it actually is a very comfortable ride. You sit, if you want to, you can sit bolt upright. It's got a seat that means you can move around quite a bit on the bike, so you can lean forward if you want to, if you're doing high speed work, but really it's an upright and comfortable bike. So seating position, you know, all day long comfortable. Suspension wise, it's I would say it's a sort of a medium bike. I would describe it as being in the Goldilocks zone. It's not too stiff, the suspension, and it's not too soft and wallowy, so it's just right. Again, would aid in doing long trips on the bike, wouldn't be a problem at all. And also it means the handling isn't affected by too much of a wallowy bike. So from a comfort point of view and suspension, the little Street Cup, good all round. So the engine on the RnineT Racer, of course, is the air-cooled Boxer Twin, the 1170cc machine. It's been tweaked, and it has, I mean, it has bags of character. You get a bit of rock and roll with it when you ride with her, in that the bike has a torque effect and you can feel it rocking from side to side. But with the exhaust that BMW put on it, it sounds absolutely lovely, and it doesn't in any way lack any power either. Obviously it's slightly bigger than the Street Cup, but the torque delivery is very similar, and it's all where you need it. And it does sound completely different to the Street Cup, but both bikes sound lovely. The engine on the Street Cup, it's absolutely brilliant. It sounds wonderful, and it's got all the power in the right places. It sort of runs out of puff once you get into silly illegal speeds, but you know, realistically you're not going to be doing that anyway. But just as a day-to-day ride, it sounds lovely. It sounds like a twin engine should sound, and it's got loads of low-down grunt. They've done wonders with the sort of torque curve on this. It's just really practical from an engine power point of view. So thumbs up for the Street Cup on the engine. Coolness factor. So you don't buy these sorts of bikes because you want to be herring around racetracks, or to demonstrate that you've got the leading technology bike in the car park. You buy these just because they look cool. So how does the Street Cup bear on the, or fare rather, on the looking cool front? Well, I think it looks great overall. I'm not too keen on this front little fairing, to be honest. I think if I had one of these I'd take that off. But the rest of the bike looks amazing. The fit and finish is lovely. I love the coach lines on the paintwork. I love the colour actually, this sort of banana yellow. I think really suits this bike. And also of course the fact that it's a Triumph, the heritage that comes with the Triumph brand adds to the coolness factor. So again, I think top marks to the Street Cup for coolness factor. So style and coolness then on the RnineT Racer. Well, this thing is just, it has style in spades. BMW have at least matched Triumph with their fit and finish now. I never thought I'd say that, but it's true. They're both beautifully built bikes. But the BMW really does ooze style and coolness with this 70s sort of racing look. And I guess it's really down to just what you like what you prefer the look of, whether you're a calf racer man or a racer type style floats your boat. But if you're in the market for one of these retro bikes, definitely worth riding both. So I guess the critical question to summarise then is, if it was my money and I was in the market for one of these retro bikes, which one would I go for? Well, I suppose it would be more of a comparison to do, I guess, the RnineT Racer against the Thruxton, which is obviously the better specified bike, and similar in terms of price. The RnineT Racer being about £1,000 or so more than the Street Twin. But ignoring that, putting that aside for one moment, because it's the Street Twin and the Racer that I can compare at the moment, then if it were me, I'd go for the Racer. The Street Twin I never fully sort of gelled with. I liked it, but I didn't love it. Unlike, say, for example, the T100 which I rode, which is a similar sort of bike. If it was my money and I was going for one of these sort of retro bikes that isn't a straightforward sit up and beg type bike, then the RnineT Racer would have it for me. It's a bit more comfortable. I prefer the looks. I just think it's a nicer bike, but that may be, you know, because it costs more money. Anyway, ultimately it's entirely a taste and preference thing, so have a ride yourselves and make your choice. But hope that's been of some interest to compare the two bikes directly while I had them both together, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Until then, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.